Hi. Hey there, and welcome back to Trisha Paytas, A History of Scandals and Controversies. This is part 3 of what we expect to be beyond a part 5 series. So in the first part, we did talk about the early years of Trisha Paytas' career, which spanned more or less 2007 to 2015 when we started to see the beginnings of her scandals and controversies. Part 2 only covered 2016 because we found that to be a very problematic year for Trisha. Here in part 3, we're going to be covering more or less 2017, 2018, and the very beginning of 2019. So, just to speed through the guidelines, like I always say, you are not welcome to send hate on behalf of me or this video or anywhere in the comments of this video. Not towards Trisha, not towards me, not towards anyone mentioned in this video, and certainly not towards each other. Also, if I happen to miss a scandal that you know about that happened during this time frame or during one of my previous episodes, feel free to send me a DM so that we can talk about that, look a little further into it, and perhaps do another episode or two where we cover those little known scandals. And lastly, at any point you may hear me say to put a pin in this, and when I say that, that means that this is likely something we are going to see as a pattern of behavior. So, diving right in. 2017, Trisha released 3 songs, well, probably several songs, I believe, but 3 controversial songs by the names of I Love You Jesus, A Jesus Bop, and A Christmas Jesus Bop. However, on this channel, we don't tell people whether or not they can practice a religion or how they should do that. So we are considering this a non-scandal and moving along. When we really started to see drama around Trisha in 2017 was in August, when she was a contestant on the show Celebrity Big Brother UK. Now, to be honest with you, I had to do a good bit of digging and research to even understand the format of this show, the people, the contestants that were on the show, how it all works, and other stuff I wasn't particularly interested in, which made me wonder, because this is apparently a UK show on a major TV network in the UK, I wonder how much overlap there might be between that audience and Trisha Paytas' audience over here on YouTube in America primarily. So if you're somebody who watches Celebrity Big Brother UK as well as Trisha Paytas content, comment down below. Let us know how many of you are out there that watch both. But because I don't foresee there being a lot of overlap, I decided not to go too deep into this. If we decide we want to know more about what happened during this season, perhaps we'll add that to another part of this series, because this seems like this may be an infinite series and eventually a live stream. So, in terms of the basics, what did I find? This show is another one of those reality TV shows where they put a bunch of people, in this case, celebrities, though I would venture to say these are like D-list celebrities and below. But celebrities nonetheless, put them all in a house and essentially have this sort of vote out format. And in terms of what we saw from Trisha, we essentially watched her melt down in front of not only the audience of Celebrity Big Brother UK, but as well as her YouTube audience over in America and globally. She did have positive things to say about Chad Johnson, who's known from Bachelor in Paradise as well as famously Single. She referred to him as her bestie in the house. However, she really didn't have anything else positive to say about the show. She did refer to it as the worst experience of her life, and she said that everyone in the house, assuming aside from Chad, was fake.
They're dumb! Like, they're so stupid. Nobody knows who they are. Nobody cares. They're dumb as you let on that. You don't need to be immature like you don't need to laugh at me. Everyone has been telling you to shut up. You told everyone else to shut up, but because you guys think you're all the cool ones in the house, you guys don't need to laugh when I tell you, hey, didn't you just hear them be quiet?
No, but it felt like you were
just,
it felt like you were picking on me when you did that because everyone else was talking, but
everybody else has told you guys to shut up, and as soon as I do it, then I get laughed at and mocked, and Brady has to defend you.
Of Sarah Harding from the girl group Girls Out Loud, Trish referred to as trash. Gemma Lucy from the reality show X on the Beach, Trisha called extremely aggressive, and Hollyoaks star actor Paul Dannon, Trisha called a fake ass. And in these clips, we really see that Trisha does not get along with anyone in the house, aside from Chad, of course. She later said that this didn't feel like a reality show to her, that it felt more like a popularity contest, like high school, where she was not one of the cool kids. And while I can see a little bit of that on this show, especially with these two young guys, Sam and Jordan, they do kind of look like jerks, at least in the clips that I saw. But I didn't think that Trish was fair to Brandi Glanville. Whether Brandi was being fake or not, from what I saw, she seemed to be pretty nice to Trish and seemed to actually stand up for her and check on her to make sure she was okay from time to time.
We know it was Trisha because Trisha admitted that she used to do prostitution, but Brandi doesn't whore herself out back then.
Careful, because you don't know circumstances, so be careful. Housemates must remain silent.
Remain silent. Like it's not that hard. Not like we keep yelling that. Just remain silent.
You're doing really well, guys.
Remain silent. Remain silent.
They have to keep going now.
Honey.
No, I can say what I want. Like they say, remain silent. Fucking it's not that hard.
Remain silent. It's not that hard. Remain silent.
Babe, are you okay? I'm sorry.
But that's like the second time you told me not to, like, I can't speak to someone. Thank you, that's it.
I will try to take note of that.
Now, like I said, this all could be fake, as Trisha said, but I do speculate that there may be a pattern of behavior in Trisha, so let's put a pin in this, I guess. A pattern of behavior where Trisha fails to recognize when people are in her corner. I noticed this last year, so we'll probably visit it in one of our upcoming episodes, but in the Gabby H, Gabby D drama of late 2019, I really think that we saw this kind of attacking people who are in your corner type of behavior. It seems to me that Trisha takes a lot of behaviors as an attack. As soon as she feels like someone's not on her side, I think she gets on the defensive really quick and to some extent alienates herself. I don't doubt that people probably didn't like her and picked on her, but I do think a lot of that is probably of her own doing, unfortunately.
Because it's such a high school mentality in here, and I hate it. Like, it brings me back to that, and I really don't like it. I really don't like it. You guys don't even have washcloths. I can't even wash my body properly because there's no washcloths. I don't like anyone, and that's why I told Big Brother I just want to leave. I don't like anyone. I don't like anyone. I don't get along with anyone. Maybe it's me, probably me, because I can't get along with anyone in my life. I don't need to be in a situation like this. I don't need the money. I came in for the experience. I make so much money, not to be conceited, but like I literally came in because I thought, oh, it would be a good experience.
So needless to say, she had a really bad time and she ended up being the only contestant on the show to walk versus winning the show or being considered evicted. She walked after 11 days, although we saw her melting down by like day 2.
Like logistically, if I left right now, do I get no money or can I at least get like 2 days paid? You know what I mean? Or like 5 days because I was over here early. Like 100% serious. You guys don't even have washcloths. I can't even wash my body properly because there's no washcloths. I just want a washcloth. It's like I can't even scrub my butt or anything because I have washcloths.
And in her first response video, where she was still in her hotel room in London, she started to talk negatively about the show and the people on the show, but it seemed like she was tiptoeing around a lot, which led me to believe that she was being mindful of certain contract terms that probably stated that she couldn't speak negatively about the show or people on the show. I'm guessing something along those lines.
I have a lot to say about the people in the house. I have a lot of information. What I saw tonight is just so much fakery, and I know, and I could expose so many things that he said about Sarah and her, about her life, but you know, I'm just gonna play nice. I know things. I know so many things, and I could go off.
However, after the show's finale aired, Trisha seemed to throw all those contract terms out the window in essentially an exposed video of the cast of Celebrity Big Brother UK 2017. But largely she focused on Sarah Harding, who was the winner of the season of that show. She spoke a lot about the special treatment that Sarah got on the show and about how she believed the show was rigged for Sarah to win.
Why did I self-evict? Because Sarah Harding was in that house and I knew it was rigged from the beginning and a setup. Sarah got a lot of special treatment in the house. A lot of special treatment. And she would gloat about it when she would come down from the diary room. I knew it. I've heard this was up in other people's contracts before, like allegedly like Katie Price had to be like a finalist. That was like in her contract. If there's a towel on the bed, it's reserved for someone. The only person who had a reserved single bed was Sarah. Now, it could have been in the contract or whatever. Well, she would say this in the house. She's like, I found loopholes. Like, they can't say any of that, what they just said. And, like, I can't repeat what they said because I'm sure, like, whatever, I'll probably get in trouble. I'm probably gonna get in trouble for this video anyways.
Of course, we only see what TV shows us, and then, of course, what Trisha exposes on the internet. But I do believe that she has a tendency to alienate herself and to pit people against herself. To be somebody so sensitive, she's very quick to run off at the mouth, and I think that ultimately ends up pitting her against everyone else in any situation. As for this conspiracy that the show is rigged or certain people get special treatment based on contract terms, I fully believe that that could be true. Of course, you know, these shows want to get certain celebrities on their program. So they may be promising certain things to certain celebrities as a means of getting them on the show. And as much as we don't want to support Trisha, man, do we love a good exposed video. We might as well put a pin in that because we know we're going to see a lot more of that. So we're going to jump back a couple of months to June of 2017. At this time, Trisha had not met Jason Nash or anyone from the Vlog Squad, I don't believe. She was friends with Andrea Russett, who is a YouTuber I really don't know much about. But at that time, Andrea Russett and Carly and Contro approached Jason and encouraged him to ask Trisha out on a date.
You found me my girlfriend yet?
Yes! I have someone in mind. Do you know who Trisha Paytas is?
Okay, so wait a minute. You found somebody?
I found someone that I think you and her would be very compatible.
How old is she?
30.
That's a great age. In her
Do you
prime.
want to see a picture of her? Do you know who she is? She has like half-hour-long videos of her just eating.
And upon checking out her Instagram, Jason was interested, or at least interested in asking her to collab with him on a video called My First Date Since Divorce.
Oh my god! Oh my god! How are you?
So Jason and Trisha went on this date. They had a good time. Trisha has told us that right away they got along, they clicked, they ended up hooking up together before they really went on the date, which explains why you see different outfits. I think different hairstyles, maybe definitely different makeup from the beginning of the video to the end. So suffice it to say, they did click, they did get along, but they didn't end up ultimately dating for a while. Trisha did go off to the UK to do Celebrity Big Brother. After that, they did end up hanging out and hooking up a couple of times over the course of the rest of 2017, but they didn't ultimately become a couple until the very beginning of February of 2018. So in terms of their relationship, starting from February 2018, we see a lot of toxic behavior coming from both sides of this relationship. And really, if you just search Trisha Jason on YouTube, you will find countless edits of their relationship being toxic. And that's just what was caught on camera and posted to YouTube. And we'll be taking a look at some of those in a bit. But first, I'd like to focus on what happened in June of 2018. This is when we saw a series of breakup videos, a breakup video, a response video, another response video, a response to that video, essentially this volley back and forth between Trisha and Jason over a breakup. And that initial breakup was, according to Trisha, because she's fat. She didn't say necessarily because Jason said she was fat, but simply because she was disappointed in herself and her weight.
I'm not mad at anyone except myself. I'm completely disgusted with myself and how I look and how I feel, and I'm so sorry to be letting everyone down. He's like a really amazing human. Like he has a good heart, so this issue isn't even on him, it really is on me. He made a remark. We were doing an interview for This Is a Real, for a reality show we were gonna do together, and we were being compared to couples, and he says it was a joke, but he said, you know, they were comparing us to another travel YouTube couple, and he said, yeah, except me and Trish were both fat. And yeah, it sucks. And everyone knows my struggle and insecurity, especially Jason. He knows my insecurity. We had a fight about a week ago. I didn't eat in front of him for a week because he told me I was sick because of my diet, even though I told him, don't say anything about my diet, don't say anything. And it wasn't that. I went to the doctor and I had a sore throat for a separate reason. Anyways.
Though she does go on to tell us that Jason has made numerous remarks about her eating habits, her weight, her size, and that he has used the word fat when describing the both of them to a TV producer, which cut pretty deep for Trisha to be called that F word by her boyfriend. And from there, in Jason's response video, we see him defend himself a good bit, deny ever calling Trish fat, and denying essentially a lot of the claims, if not every claim she made in her first video.
That's what's so crazy about the video she made, is that I never ever had any issue with her body type, ever. She's perfect size for me. I do not care. I don't care what she looks like, and the fact that she's twisting it this way to say that because I'm fat, because I'm gross, because I'm fat, because it's just not true. Order what you want. I know you don't like salads. I said, I'm sorry. And it went on for like, a few days, and I was like, just stop torturing me. I'm sorry. I was just trying to help. And I never, ever would call her that. I would never call her fat, ever. And I'd never call a woman fat, ever.
And from there, we saw Trisha come back with receipts. She gave us a couple of video clips where Jason is kind of food shaming her, including a clip where he says that she would be hotter a size lower.
Should we get popcorn? Can we take it anything?
I think we need to slow down on the food.
We've had one meal since we've been here.
Yeah, but we just...
What? I don't want popcorn. Ew. That's my biggest pet peeve about you, is the fact that you comment on people's food choices. I don't like that about you.
I comment on food choices?
Yeah.
I think secretly you're using this hunger strike thing. You're like gonna blame me, but in the meantime you're gonna like lose weight and look hot. I think that's what's going on now.
No, I'm like starving and miserable. Like I hate it.
Eat something. I told you I'll never comment on anything again. Guys, this is what happened.
I wouldn't even give you the credit of if I lost weight. I would not give that to you and be like, Jason, shame me into
I know
this.
you wouldn't give me the credit, but you'd be looking hot a size lower.
And apparently they did find the footage where Jason and Trisha were talking to that TV producer and found that Jason did in fact call them fat, for which he apologized in kind of these back and forth videos. And what eventually happened was that Jason asked Trisha to meet him in Boston to spend some vacation time with him and his family, and she ultimately made her way up there. They made the decision to, as kind of a compromise, to better their relationship. They decided not to be in each other's vlogs. And that lasted, I don't even think, to the end of the video where they made that decision. And all of that happened, like I said, in June, but we're looking at really like June 21st and a few days thereafter. Then something I find odd happened. Trisha posted on June 26th a video recreating their first date 1 year later. And in the beginning of the video, Trisha gushes about Jason, about how amazing of a guy he is, how magical of a time this is, and just how happy she is in this relationship.
It's been so great ever since, and it's been such a good relationship, and it's rebuilt my faith and trust in men.
And then proceeds to roll the footage of this recreated first date. The problem here is that this footage was just so uncomfortable to watch.
I do remember I got an ice cream, and that's what we're gonna go do next at Haagen-Dazs. And Jason, not much has changed. Jason judged me for having an ice cream at noon. Still, to this day.
I didn't say anything about you can have ice cream. I didn't say anything.
Oh, you can. You're gonna have ice cream now?
Yeah, it's like the middle of the day. It's hot.
Oh no, we have to get it for the thing, but I can't eat it in front of you.
But this is what's so silly. I've asked you just to stop that chicken Caesar hunger strike that you're on. Okay.
Babe, tell me whatever you want.
Well, now I can't because I'm recreated because I'm miserable then and I'm miserable now.
Sounds like this is not a good relationship for you.
It was essentially half an hour or so of Trish being very passive aggressive and Jason continuing to food shame and weight shame Trisha. And what's even funnier is that the footage we saw a few days ago where she proved that Jason said that she would be hotter a size lower comes from that very day.
Well, I know you wouldn't give me the credit, but you'd be looking hot a size lower.
So I think this video was very confusing to a lot of the viewers in terms of whether it was supposed to be a happy video or not. But I do want to say, in terms of the food shaming and the body shaming topics around Jason and Trisha, I do think that part of this for Jason is really his own discomfort around his own weight. He was aware that Trisha was a mukbang YouTuber before they got into this relationship, but it really seemed that when he was in her presence during not only those meals, but just meals in general, he seemed very uncomfortable, like he was tempted to eat foods that he didn't feel he should be eating because he was gaining weight in this relationship. So I do think that part of it had more to do with him and his own weight than Trisha and her weight. However, I do think he wanted her to lose weight. And he did at times say things like, it's just for her health. And I don't buy it most of the time when people say that. I think it would be one thing if Trisha gained a lot of weight in a short period of time because of these mukbangs, say, and he became concerned for her. But he knew what he was getting into with this relationship. And hi. Essentially, I think that that was kind of a cop-out on Jason's part. Aside from that, I found Trisha to be a very, very toxic girlfriend. She often gaslit Jason, made fun of him. She made a lot of cheating jokes, very graphic cheating jokes, when she claims that cheating is the most sensitive topic for her next to her weight, and essentially said a lot of things that I think she would not be able to handle hearing herself. So let's look at a couple of standout moments. There was the time she threatened to expose the vlog squad, and everybody kind of laughed at it, made a joke of it.
Trisha, if we ever stop being friends, are you gonna talk crap about us?
What? There's nothing bad about us.
There is about David 100%, about Jason 100%. David, I have so much about you.
What would you say about me?
Oh, I'm not gonna even tell you. If Jason and I break up, you better watch the out. I won't ever. As long as me and Jason are together, I won't ever.
Jason, don't mess this up. you won't expose me?
Not if we're together.
But we're gonna go ahead and put a pin in this, because the vlog squad may not have known, but we as the audience know that when Trisha says that she'll do an exposed video, she will do an exposed video. I was really concerned when I saw this video. I believe it was, I don't know if it was on David's channel or Jason's channel, but it was a video where Jason and David visit Trisha at her apartment after a really big fight between the couple. And they go on to explain the fight to David. And essentially, Trisha held Jason hostage in her apartment.
We're going up to Trisha's apartment. You guys are in a fight.
Yeah, I don't want to be here.
And I'm here because I need to film, and you're just my friend, so you kind of follow me everywhere. So you're in a weird spot.
You were going to make me go to Chicago, so this is my peace offering by coming here. So you have some 30 seconds. You better use this tomorrow.
Don't get in a fight with her on purpose.
Huh?
Don't get in a fight with her on purpose.
Why would I do that?
Because you're angry.
I'm angry being here.
Why?
Because I don't want to be here. I told you this was going to go bad. I told you in the car. I said this is going to go.
Let's cut this. What the f is going on?
Hey, David, everything's happy here. It's a harmonious situation.
Oh my god, he's so dramatic.
Why?
I'm not being dramatic.
You're being so dramatic. Here we go.
Jason almost called 911 on me last night.
There it is! Jason almost called 911 on you.
Yeah.
Why? What were you doing?
Nothing, like literally.
Shut up.
I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't, literally didn't do anything.
I mean, what she did, like, wasn't that bad.
I was blocking the door.
For an hour and a half.
I sat there. He went into that bedroom and I just sat there. But then.
She sat right here.
Wait.
She sat here like a prison guard. And I was like, Trisha, get out of the way. I'm going home. I want to go home. I need some time to myself. She's like, no. No.
Holy shit. Is this true?
Yeah.
Like, you're not leaving. I go, I'm calling 911. She goes,
Good. Do it.
And in this video too, you find everybody to laugh at points here and there, especially David. But this whole situation is not just concerning, but it is straight up abusive. And if you ask me, there were plenty of red flags for Jason leading up to this point, but at that point, he definitely should have called quits on this relationship. But he didn't. And something else I found to be concerning is how many times Trisha would make comments about getting married, moving in together, having children, and she didn't often say these things in a positive way. She kind of, during a fight, would passive-aggressively just suggest that they just get married, almost as a means of ending a fight, or I'm not exactly sure what the end game was here, aside from perhaps locking Jason down.
Want to get married on Valentine's Day?
Yeah, actually it's the perfect day because it's Wednesday, and in Beverly Hills Courthouse you can only get married on Wednesdays.
We have a long time to get married.
Alright, well then you better plan something pretty epic for Valentine's Day, since I'm a pretty epic girlfriend that plans epic trips for you.
I hate planning. I had so much pressure to like plan.
Jason, if we don't do anything and the vlog finds out and Instagram finds out, I'm like, wow.
You know, I think we need to work some things out, and once we do...
What?
I don't know.
Do we get married today? The Beverly Hills Courthouse is open for marriages.
Want to get married?
That's some sort of commitment, at least.
I don't know.
That'd be fun.
I think we need to work some things out.
We do it after we get married.
No.
We're
Before.
right here. We're in Beverly Hills right now.
It wouldn't be very responsible. It's just a house for us to film in. That's it.
It's not. It's a house you're living in and making your home. You're buying furniture.
I don't think I need to date someone for 8 months and necessarily have to move in with them right away.
So watching this footage just makes me really uncomfortable for Jason, and it says a lot about Trisha and her desire to marry somebody and then address their problems, which to most people, to level-headed people, is putting the cart before the horse. That stuff honestly was just... I would refer to those moments as the bitchiest proposals I've ever heard. We do later see more videos of Jason food shaming Trisha, particularly this video where they went to Burger King to try the spicy chicken nuggets, and I believe it was supposed to be a mukbang video for Trisha, but it was just another really uncomfortable video where the whole time Jason is visibly nervous and kind of like shaking his leg and making all these little jabs at Trisha for her eating, but then kind of backpedaling here and there.
There's so many nuggets.
All right, but you want to bring the rest to Jonah?
Babe, I might need to do one more.
No, you're good. I don't think you need to do it. And think about Jonah.
One more nugget.
Love these so
One more nugget, babe. Nug me.
I think we should stop. You're hungry right now, but in like 20, once your stomach catches up with your brain.
I didn't even eat any of these fries. Look, there's so many fries.
Well, when your health is in the way.
Babe, I'm healthy. I just went to a doctor.
I just don't want you to get sick.
This was one of those rare moments where I felt bad for Trisha in this relationship. So, moving along to February 2019. Trisha posts a video called Why David Dobrik is a Horrible Human Being. And to understand why she posted this video, we have to look back at some of David's most recent vlogs. He seemed to have a recurring joke with Jason about arranging some sort of threesome between Jason, Trish, and Tana Mojo.
Trisha, can you help me with my video? You would do anything for me?
I'd do anything for you.
Can you and Jason have a threesome with Tana?
And on various occasions, Trish has made it very clear that she's not comfortable with this joke.
It hurts me, but it also disgusts me. And
at one point even, we see her strip naked in David's house in protest, more or less.
Do you ever have a threesome?
It doesn't like entice me as much.
Tana just called actually, she wanted to.
Again, not interested. Trisha, put your fucking clothes on. It's not funny.
You want to have a Tana joke? I'm going to have
David said that. I didn't say anything.
You made that joke.
I made what joke?
That'd be so funny for the vlog. You know what else would be funny for the vlog?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
This relationship is over.
Honestly, it seemed to piss off Jason, so it seemed pretty effective in getting Jason to stop talking about it, but then just ended up giving David more footage, so on the morning of February 2nd, 2019, Trisha watched David's most recent vlog at that time, which again featured this joke about Jason, Trish, and Tana.
If you can get Tana to have a three-way with me and Trisha, I'll f***ing buy you a Ferrari. I'll do anything. I'll be your slave for a year.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious.
How do you feel about Jason wanting to have a threesome with you?
But why me, Jason? You could do better.
Because he likes broken girls. Is that true or true?
Yeah, it's true.
And in this video, she compares David to Ted Bundy. She talks a lot of trash about Jason's ex-wife.
He got this house to surprise me, but when he asked his ex-wife, she said absolutely not. If you move in with Trish, like, I will take you to court and I'll take the kids away from you, even though she never sees the kids. Jason has them every weekend. They have a full-time nanny. I was like, she's not gonna take, and he takes them to school every morning. Like, she's not gonna take them away from you. You literally are their primary caregiver. You know what I mean? Like, but he was so scared, and that was like the big threat. And I was like, first of all, what an evil person to threaten to take away someone's kids. It's like she's like just a really evil person. This whole thing wasn't gonna work. I mean, she's like evil and controlling and just like...
And she exposed Brandon Calvillo for dating a 17-year-old girl while he was 24. I'm not sure if he was 23 or 24, but he was around that age.
Brandon, in their friend group, was dating a high schooler last year.
But we'll return to this in a minute. A day or two after Trisha posted this video, she and Jason sat down to film an apology video where they both apologized for their sides of this whole debacle.
I take full responsibility for hurting Trisha's feelings, and for some of the things that were in David's vlog.
And again, this was another uncomfortable video. It was just a long video where the two of them bicker back and forth about the situation.
You know,
What was that?
It was just like a joke the other day. Like I'm bringing it up that, like, you know, yeah, like that hurt my feelings too. But it's like that's like the culture.
But when someone says, I'm not comfortable with this joke, which I told you both months ago, that's the issue. It's like, I told you. I said any other joke you want to make about me,
I know,
put it in.
And I wasn't making the joke.
And it's clear that they hadn't resolved anything yet we're quick to jump on camera to make an apology video that they ended up deleting shortly thereafter. So it was during this time, shortly after these videos, that Trish says she was experiencing a lot of anxiety. And she has a history of reliance on prescription medication. And in this case, she was taking far too many of a certain pain pill, as well as drinking alcohol, and ended up in the emergency room. I believe her mother took her to the hospital, and Jason showed up, and he happened to be with Jeff Wittick, so they were both there. But Trisha made a remark that made it seem as though she was a danger to herself, and thus was 5150'd. And I think that term, 5150'd, is thrown around a lot without anybody really explaining what it is. It is a code that is a mandated psychiatric hold. Typically 72 hours, but in Trisha's case, it was only 48 hours. But when somebody makes it clear they are a danger to themselves and or make statements about wanting to harm themselves, they can be 5150'd, where they are mandated to be taken to a psych ward and be held for, like I said, typically 72 hours. And during this time, we know that Jason was being very supportive of Trish. He was bringing her items to help bring her comfort during that time, including some of his own t-shirts, a blanket, a love letter, things to help her get through that time. And she has spoken about the two of them spending time together kind of secretively after the psychiatric hold for a couple of months or so. But we will talk more about Trisha and the Vlog Squad in the next part of this series. What I want to return to is Brandon Calvillo and his 17-year-old girlfriend, Lacey James. So, after Trisha put out her exposed video, and I only call it an exposed video because she exposed Brandon Calvillo.
Brandon, in their friend group, was dating a high schooler last year. She was 17 years old. And when I would talk about this with, like, David, he would literally be like, oh, see, it's a big deal. He's 24, like, she's 17, like, you know, just because it's the law, like, a year, like, 6 months, in 6 months she'll be 18. I'm like... It's disgusting. Like, people have found this out, and like Brandon will call David and be like, oh, like you gotta delete these comments about her age and stuff like that, because she was in high school when they started like dating and hooking up. Like,
Brandon and Lacey put out a video that they soon deleted. And in this video, they talked about how they have such a healthy and loving relationship and tried to clear up for us any age confusion. They said that they met on Bumble, that Lacey was 17 and lied about her age. By this point, she says she had graduated early, and so Brandon had no reason to believe she was underage or in high school. They claimed that nothing physical happened, and when Brandon found out that she was in fact 17, he became very angry. But then once she turned 18, they picked the relationship back up. For some reason, I'm not inclined to believe much of this story at all. What I find very concerning is that David did post a vlog where he essentially drove Brandon and Lacey to one of their dates. And in this video, he kind of drills both Brandon and Lacey with questions about their relationship. In the beginning, Brandon talks about how old Lacey is by saying that she is 18, 19.
You've been seeing this girl for a month?
Around a month, yeah.
Do you love her?
God. Her name's Lacey. She's 18, 19.
You're like, I hope.
As if he's somehow unsure of her age, which I find very hard to believe. I think that he was trying to make her sound older than she was, for sure. And then when Lacey gets into the car, David asks her questions about their sex life. And Lacey goes on to talk about their sex life.
Is Brandon good at sex?
Honestly, yeah. Like,
Hell yeah, Brandon. What's up? Brandon's like, you want to skip this movie?
So I believe that video occurred while Lacey was still 17. And if that's the case, this was very self-incriminating for Brandon, but also really does not look good for David either. But if I can find some sort of confirmation that Lacey was 17 or 18 during this time, I will let you guys know here. Hey guys, it's Alicia looking ghastly in editing on this webcam with no makeup, but I did want to add one little bit. I know we're talking a lot about this Brandon Calvillo stuff, and I find it interesting, and so we're going to talk about it here. But in Trisha's exposed video, she does say that Brandon was dating a high schooler, and then we later come to confirm that Lacey was not in high school when she started dating Brandon, though she was 17. There may have been another girl that was 17 and in high school that Brandon was dating before Lacey. I believe it was during the times of the Bellingham house. There were videos. Her name was something like Briar. I'll maybe look more into it, but I've already talked enough about Brandon in this video, and that can be its whole other thing. So just in case anybody has something to say in the comments, yes, I do recognize that there may be another girl we're talking about here, which just makes this so much worse. So what do I think of this overall? I do think that 2017 and 2018 happened to be a pretty, I want to say, unproblematic time for Trisha, but only because I think most of her drama was contained in her own relationship with Jason Nash. Of course, there was the whole celebrity Big Brother thing, but I'm having a hard time getting invested in that and really having much of an opinion about it. Like I said, if we care to dive any deeper into that whole season, then we can do that, and perhaps I will form more of an opinion. But I think I said what I needed to say. I think Trisha did pit herself against everybody else. I think partially that has to do with her being not that likable, and partially because she does this to herself. She does it all the time, and she even recognizes that. I do believe her when she starts getting very animated and very passionate in these exposed videos. I do tend to believe the details she tells us about other people. As far as her relationship with Jason Nash, we've seen a lot of clips where each of them is an unhealthy partner for the other. Like I said, we see a lot of gaslighting, a lot of mocking, a lot of manipulation, a lot of pressuring, and a lot of belittling on Trisha's part towards Jason. Jason does seem to be the better partner in this relationship. When you look at it in its totality, he does end up looking like the better guy. However, when it comes to the food comments, the body comments, the health comments, the diet comments, I have a really hard time calling somebody who talks like that a good boyfriend in any way. I would have broken up with him as soon as he made the first comment. Curious to know what you guys think. I've been in a situation like that before. I'm curious to know if you've been in a situation like that before. As far as her exposed video that ultimately ended their relationship, I do understand that this was all based on a joke that made Trisha uncomfortable. And I think that it was on Jason and David for continuing to make this joke when she made it clear she was uncomfortable with it. As soon as she said that she was uncomfortable with the joke, that should have been the end of that. As it continued, I think if Trisha would have spoken to Jason again, they might have been able to drag this relationship out a little bit longer. But it was clear that this video she made was the kicker in this relationship and what ultimately severed her ties with the Vlog Squad. Obviously, I don't think it's okay the way she spoke about Jason's ex. Trashing David, though not really saying anything all that incriminating about him, he still turns out to be a very likable person. But in terms of exposing Brandon Calvillo, I am not mad at that girl one bit for doing that. I think that that needed to be said. Now, I'm sure there are going to be people who disagree with me, who say that, you know, like, that she was so close to being of legal age that in many states the age of consent is lower. Plenty of reasons that they think that this relationship was okay in the beginning, but I am not of that mode of thinking. And here's why. If Brandon had been, say, 19, had gone to school with this girl, something like that, and she was 17, then turned 18, I wouldn't find it creepy really at all. But when you're 24, you are pretty established in your adult life. Obviously, you still have more growing up to do, but at that point, most people have gone to college and graduated, or definitely have at least gone out into the working world and established an adult life for 6 years or so. So what business does a guy who has been on his own, presumably for 6 years or so, what business does he have trying to date somebody that may just now be exiting high school? That gives me the creeps. This age gap wouldn't bother me so much if they were younger, but the fact that she was 17, it was illegal. So there's that. I don't need to argue with anyone there. But in terms of these age gaps, I'm curious to know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? I'm sure there's going to be a mix out there. Like I said, I feel like aside from this relationship, though this relationship was a lot, this seemed to be a pretty unproblematic time in Trisha's YouTube career, though they gave us plenty of drama. But I want to know what you guys think. I'm not sure if I mentioned, maybe I did, but it was during those breakup back and forth videos that I started watching Trisha's content again. I kind of got sucked in to what that was, and that was actually what introduced me to the Vlog Squad, and I love the Vlog Squad. I like watching all of their videos, most of their videos. So it's kind of interesting that I started as kind of a Trish fan and then jumped ship over to the Vlog Squad. I'm curious, did that happen to anyone else? So, you know, anything you guys want to talk about, feel free to comment down below. To you, the one person who's watching, who's not me, thank you so much for watching to this point. Thank you so much for continuing to come back to these videos and staying to the end. I really appreciate you. I'm eager to hear what you have to say in the comments, so I'll see you there. Bye.